STL TV Live. Raynah here, and joining me in the studio is Michael Pertnoy. Michael is one of the directors of The Last Survivor. Michael, what is The Last Survivor?
Well, The Last Survivor is a documentary film that follows the lives of survivors of 4 different genocides and mass atrocity crimes. A survivor from the Holocaust, a young lady from Rwanda, a young man from Darfur, and a young gentleman from St. Louis who's originally from the Congo. And the film focuses on their lives today. It questions how they've been able to overcome the trauma they've experienced in their lives and what they're doing now to work for positive change in their own communities.
Wow, now that's really, really deep. So I want to talk about where you came from and what led you to this project. So tell us your background.
Well, it's interesting because for me, I was really interested in this subject matter as a young person. When I was 17 years old, I had the opportunity to go on a trip to the concentration camps in Poland with Holocaust survivors in my own community. And growing up, I learned a lot about the Holocaust, and for me as a young person, it was very overwhelming at times. I didn't really know how to engage with the material. So many people were killed, and it was hard to really grasp this singular experience. Where's my place? And when I went on this trip, it had a profound impact on my life, because I went with Holocaust survivors, and they told me their stories. They told me what had happened to them and to their families. And I knew at 17 that I had to do something about it. I just didn't know what. And it was when I graduated from college that I had gone back on this trip. I had gone back to the concentration camps in Poland. And in 2006, we didn't have any Holocaust survivors with us. And the genocide in Darfur had been going on for over 3 years. Millions of people had already been killed in Congo. So I left and I said I needed to actually do something about it. We needed to use our skills as filmmakers, as storytellers, to try to highlight some of these injustices in the world and give people an opportunity to really connect on a human basis. Because I think at the end of the day, we're trying to invest in people. It's not just about stories of horror and trauma and how many people were killed, but it's about human beings and it's about individuals. And if we can reach out and connect with those human beings, we can begin to care about the issue on a one-to-one basis.
Wow, and you are just one half. You do have a partner that's doing this film with you. How did you two come together? And how do two guys who can be doing anything on the planet come together to make such an impact?
Well, my co-director, Michael Pertnoy and I, we went to school at the University of Pennsylvania. We didn't know each other because we were in rival fraternities. And the two of us got together in an editing class, a filmmaking class, our senior year of college. And that's how we met, putting together a film, and that's really where our relationship started, and my filmmaking career really started there. And for us, both of us had a personal connection. Mine was having gone on this trip to Poland, and Michael's family had escaped Nazi persecution into Belgium, and it was something that he had always wanted to do. He had learned about the genocide in Darfur when we were in college, and asked some of his professors why nobody was talking about it, why nobody knew about it. And they said, well, that's something that's going on far over there. And for Michael and I, that just wasn't an acceptable answer. We thought that as young people we had an obligation to actually do something about it, to stand up for what's wrong in the world and be able to show people that there are ways, practical ways to be involved. There are practical ways to do things in your own communities to stop these atrocities from happening.
Wow. Well, if someone is interested in seeing and getting a little more information about what you're talking about, there's a special screening going on today, isn't there?
There is. So this month is actually Genocide Prevention Month. April is the unfortunate coincidence of having 6 modern-day genocides having their commemorative events here in April. So the Holocaust, Armenia, Rwanda, Cambodia, Bosnia, and Darfur. So The Last Survivor, as our film, is touring the country to try to explain to people this horrible crime of genocide and what we can do to prevent it. So tonight here in St. Louis, we're going to be showing the film at the St. Louis Holocaust Museum and Learning Center here in St. Louis. If you go to our website, thelastsurvivor.com, you can learn exactly how to go and where exactly the information is for where the screening is tonight.
Wow, pretty powerful, very amazing. We are going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more. And we have a special treat, don't you?
We do.
Because you have.
Yeah, one of the film's main survivors is a local here of St. Louis, and he's going to join us to tell a little bit about his experience and his life, and hopefully you guys will come out and meet him tonight here in St. Louis.
Great. So many amazing things going on here in the Lou. Make sure you check STL TV out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. More with Michael Pertnoy after this. Welcome back to STL TV Live. Raynah here, and with me in the studio is Michael Pertnoy. He is one of the directors of The Last Survivor documentary and one of the featured survivors from the documentary. Justin, what a treat. What a treat. Michael, you know, we've talked a little bit about the film, but now I want to talk a little bit more about it. We know it's about genocide, but surely there's more to it than just that.
Yeah, I think when we started making the film, we realized that to make a film about genocide was a real big challenge. And genocide is such a large issue, sometimes it's hard to engage. It's hard to find a place to start. And one of the greatest messages that we've learned from the film and working with the survivors and getting to know about their lives is that a crime like genocide has its roots in something like discrimination and prejudice and hatred and fear of someone who is different than you. And I think for us, as we take the film to local communities, the greatest hope is that to be able to have the conversations about how can we start to fight genocide in our own communities. We can't think that we can solve a problem like genocide globally until we can start to work on this issue locally. So one of the things we're doing as we take the film around is to talk about getting to know our neighbors, talking about looking around our neighborhoods and thinking about what we might have in common. One of the most interesting things that we learned in making the film was that the survivors who had different backgrounds, they were from different countries, they were different ages, they shared so much in common, yet they lived worlds apart. They had so much that separated them. But when it came down to it on a very basic level, they were all human beings. They all had mothers and fathers and hopes and dreams in their lives, and those were all taken away. So as we sit here today and start to think about how we can fight genocide, we think it begins in our local communities. It begins here in St. Louis with getting to know someone like Justin.
And Justin, who is, you know, Justin, I'll let you tell your story. Tell us a little bit about why you had to leave Africa and why you're here now.
I had to leave Africa, Congo, eastern of Congo because of the conflict, because of the war. So my village where I used to live was attacked and I had to leave. And I flew to different countries. I ended up in Kenya where I lived for 5 years. Then from Kenya, I was resettled to the United States in St. Louis. Now, St. Louis has become my second home. This is where I call home.
And you know, you mentioned that you tried to localize the feeling of the film. How much more local could it be than to have one of the survivors in your film right here in St. Louis with us? And some of the things that you're doing here in St. Louis, Justin, are what?
I work at Barnes Jewish Hospital as an interpreter. I help those refugees and immigrants who can't communicate in English. I help them I bridge the gap between them and the doctors. So I've been working there for 3 years. The other thing that I'm doing, I'm working on preserving the Banyamulenge culture here in the US for the survivors who have come here. Also, I'm working on reconciliation back in Africa, where I come from in my country, so that people can come together. We are one. We belong to one another. So we have to treat one another no matter what. We are similar. We are one person. So there's no need of waking up and killing your neighbor without any reason. We are all created in the image of God, and no one has the right to kill another person.
Wow. And Michael, you know, what's the message that you really hope people take away when they see your film?
Well, I think the message is very clear. You know, genocide is something that is preventable, and it's something that we have a responsibility to be involved with to stop it from happening again. There are very clear warning signs every time a genocide breaks out. And we, as a new generation of young people, we, as a generation of Americans who live in the freest country in the world, have an obligation to step in to protect innocent people who are being killed. And I think now, during Genocide Prevention Month, it's a perfect time to really reflect on that and to be involved and to take action.
Wow. You're an amazing guy. You're doing an amazing story, and
Thank
you know,
you.
God is with you.
Thank you.
Well, you know, if you want to see it tonight, of course, you can see the film. Where is it going to be again?
It's going to be at the St. Louis Holocaust Museum. The address and information are online. It's 12 Milestone Campus Drive out here in St. Louis. If you go to thelastsurvivor.com, you can learn more about the film and exactly where the screening is.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael and Justin. And please keep up the life-changing work. Catch us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And I'll be right back after this on STL TV.